Hi everybody. This is Monday morning's devotional, but it's not being done on a Monday. I happen to be driving through one of the most beautiful areas of our country. It's called Orabi Gorge. It'll be familiar to some of the people who have been out here on teams, and they will have seen the beautiful and the wonder of this lovely mountainous valleys, rivers, countryside that we have here in South Africa. So I thought, just as I was driving, I thought, wouldn't this be a cool place just to see if I can catch up on a few devotionals. So in our journey through our devotionals, we've been looking at the names of God, and God was given different names for different reasons to reveal different aspects of who he is, of his personality, and of his character. I want to deal this week with the name Jehovah Jireh. Now, that's probably one of the most well-known songs, well-known names of God. I can recall sitting around the campfire as a teenager singing Jehovah Jireh, my provider. It's a great song, and it speaks of a wonderful aspect of who God is. You'll find it in Genesis chapter 22, how Abraham had been told by God to go and to climb a mountain. A couple of mountains around here that would be probably a little similar to the ones that he had to climb. But he had to climb a mountain with a purpose. He had to take his son up there, and he had to build an altar, and he had to sacrifice his son on the top of the mountain. When he went up there, he did exactly as he was told. He walked for 3 days, found the mountain, built the altar, put his son on the altar, ready to kill him and offer him as a sacrifice to God. This is why he was such a man of faith. He really believed that God would restore this young man to life again. And these gave the name of God Jehovah Jireh, because as his hand was coming down to kill his son, an angel stopped him and said, "The Lord has said you have kind of passed the test. Now God knows that he is number one in your life. It was just a test, and you have passed the test." And he looked behind him, and he found that there was a goat in the thicket that he was able to sacrifice instead of his son. What an incredible story that speaks to us so much about Jehovah Jireh, the God who provides. But the first thing I want you to know is the place of this provision. He says there, when he gives God this name, he says, on the mountain, Jehovah Jireh will be your provider. On the mountain. We often throw the name Jehovah Jireh around far too lightly. We sort of make it look like, oh, well, every situation, Jehovah Jireh, he'll provide. It's not true. He will only provide on the mountain. And so as we look into life, we say, what is that mountain that says that if I climb this mountain and do this, that God will provide? Well, it's simply the mountain of obedience. As Abraham took his son and did exactly what the story says, God said, you have passed the test of obedience to me. You see, God wants to know where he stands in his relationship with you. And on the mountain, you get to determine that relationship. You get to determine where God is in the pecking order of your life. For many people, he's kind of down the ranks. Maybe he's there, but he's just not where he should be. God will never settle people for being second place. He has to be number one. And being number one is just the test that is proved by climbing the mountain, being ready and willing to make the offering and the sacrifice that God calls you to do. So before we start throwing the name Jehovah Jireh around into every one of the different contexts of our lives, let's make sure that we're on the mountain. We're on the mountain of sacrifice and the mountain of obedience to God. And then watch what God will do. It's a wonderful thing that Abraham looked behind him and he saw that God had provided for him a lamb. But what I find interesting too, let me just add this quickly, is that Abraham had failed some other tests. We read in the book of Genesis, they say that there were really 9 tests that Abraham had to pass in the course of his great story. Apparently, he failed 4 of them. But that didn't seem to matter because he passed this one. God was number one. So you can fail some of the others. And I'm not condoning that, but I'm telling you, you can fail them. But if you pass this test, God can, for you, be Jehovah Jireh, the one when you're on the mountain who will be your provider. So people, let's make sure that we're on the mountain today. Have a great day. I'm going to see if I can find another place. Cheers.